In the mid-1990s, a small, obscure brand of shoes called Hush Puppies was on the verge of extinction. They were selling only a few thousand pairs a year, mostly to older men in the Midwest. The company was ready to pull the plug. And then, something strange happened. Without any advertising, without any marketing, a few cool kids in the East Village of New York City started wearing them ironically. Then a few more. A fashion designer put them in a show. Suddenly, in the span of a single year, sales exploded to over 2 million pairs. Hush Puppies had gone from a dying brand to a cultural phenomenon. How does this happen? How does an idea, a product or a trend suddenly catch fire and spread like a virus? This is the central mystery that journalist and author Malcolm Gladwell sets out to solve in his groundbreaking book, The Tipping Point. He argues that social change doesn't happen gradually. It happens at a single, dramatic moment, the tipping point, when an idea crosses a threshold and spreads like an epidemic. Today on Geeky Philosopher, we are going to become social detectives. We will explore the 3 hidden rules that govern these social epidemics, and learn how little things can and do make a very big difference. So, Gladwell's core insight is that we can actually think about the spread of ideas in the same way that epidemiologists think about the spread of diseases. Just as a virus needs certain conditions to become a pandemic, a social trend needs certain conditions to, tip. He argues that all social epidemics are really driven by 3 simple rules. First, there's the law of the few. A few, special types of people, are responsible for starting and spreading the message. Then, there's the stickiness factor. The message itself has to be memorable and compelling. It really has to stick. And finally, the power of context. The environment in which the message spreads just has to be right for it to take hold. By understanding these 3 rules, we can actually begin to understand the hidden logic behind everything from fashion trends to crime waves to, honestly, even the American Revolution. So the first rule is that social epidemics are not started by everyone. Instead, they're driven by a tiny percentage of the population who, have a rare and powerful set of social gifts. Gladwell identifies 3 key types of people. First, there are the connectors. These are the people who seem to know, just about everyone. They are the hubs of social networks. They have a gift for making friends and acquaintances across a wide variety of different social circles. Their power is not in their expertise but in the sheer breadth of their social reach. They are the ones who can take an idea from one subculture and introduce it to another. Second, there are the Mavens. A Maven is a Yiddish word for someone who accumulates knowledge. Mavens are not persuaders, they are information brokers. They are the people who are obsessed with finding the best deals, the newest restaurants, the most effective products. They are driven by a genuine desire to learn and to share that knowledge with others. When a Maven tells you about a new product, you trust them because you know they've done the research. Finally, and most obviously, there are the Salesmen. These are the charismatic, persuasive people who have an uncanny ability to get others to agree with them. They are masters of nonverbal cues and can build an instant rapport that makes their message incredibly compelling. Gladwell's argument is that for an idea to tip, it doesn't need to reach everyone. It just needs to reach the right connectors, mavens and salesmen. These are the super spreaders of the social world. Having the right messengers is not enough, the message itself must be memorable. This is what Gladwell calls the stickiness factor. A sticky idea is one that is simple, surprising, and easy to act on. It grabs your attention and it stays in your mind long after you've heard it. He uses the brilliant example of the children's television show, Sesame Street. The creators of Sesame Street didn't just guess what would keep kids engaged. They conducted rigorous scientific testing. They brought in kids and tracked their eye movements moment by moment to see what parts of the show were boring and what parts were, sticky. They made a revolutionary discovery. Kids didn't need a linear story. They were perfectly happy to watch a series of short, engaging, and disconnected segments. They also learned that kids were most engaged when they saw a blend of reality and fantasy, like a giant friendly bird walking and talking with real children. By relentlessly testing and refining the stickiness of their message, the creators of Sesame Street were able to build one of the most effective and influential educational tools in history. The lesson is that the structure and presentation of an idea are just as important as the idea itself. It's not enough for a message to be true. It has to be packaged in a way that makes it unforgettable. So, let's take a moment to talk about the power of context. It's a really important concept to understand when we're thinking about how people behave and why certain things happen the way they do. The final rule is the power of context. This is the idea that human behavior is powerfully influenced by the environment and the context in which it occurs. Gladwell makes this case with the story of the dramatic drop in crime in New York City in the 1990s. The conventional wisdom was that this was due to a strong economy or, a change in policing strategies. But Gladwell points to a different, more surprising theory, the broken windows theory. So this theory argues that small signs of disorder in an environment, like a broken window or, graffiti on a subway car, send a signal. They send a signal that no one is really in control and that breaking the rules is, kind of acceptable. This can actually create a permission structure for more serious crime to, flourish. In the 1990s, the NYC Transit Authority decided to test this idea. They launched a massive, and honestly at the time, ridiculed campaign to clean every single piece of graffiti off of every single subway car. It was an immense effort, but it worked. The cleaner, more orderly environment sent a new signal: someone is in control, the rules matter. This small change in the physical context helped to tip the entire system into a new, lower crime equilibrium. The lesson is profound. We often think that our character and our beliefs are the primary drivers of our behavior. But the power of context shows that we are incredibly sensitive to our environment. Small changes in our surroundings can lead to dramatic changes in how we act. The Tipping Point is a book that gives you, a new lens for seeing the world. It's a powerful reminder that our world is not always linear, logical, and predictable. It teaches us that big changes often have small, specific beginnings, that the right person, with the right message, in the right environment, can start an epidemic of change that can move the world. It's a call for us to look for the connectors, mavens, and salesmen in our own lives, to think deeply about how to make our own good ideas more sticky, and to appreciate the profound power of our environment to shape our behavior. The world may seem complex and chaotic, but Gladwell shows us that if we know where to look, we can find the simple, elegant principles that govern the tipping points of our lives and our society. This book is, an invitation to become a more observant and more intelligent student of the world around you. It's really a toolkit for understanding how change happens and how you can be a part of it. If you are a curious mind, a connector of ideas, and someone who believes that small, thoughtful actions can have a massive impact, then you are a part of this conversation. So, consider subscribing to Geeky Philosopher, where we are dedicated to exploring the tipping points of human wisdom. Thank you for being here.